Professor Richard Marais,
he's very passionate about trying to understand better melanoma in order to be able to treat patients better in the future.
So Richard Marais is my boss. He's the director of my institute. He's also a world-leading scientist in research into the treatment of melanoma.
I like to know the answer, I like to work hard, I like to push myself, and I like to push the people around me. I believe in the evidence, and the evidence is always got through hard work. To observe is the most important, what's the word I'm looking for? Not to observe is to miss an opportunity. I was interested in how cells communicated with each other, and one of the proteins that I was studying is called BRAF, and then we discovered that BRAF was mutated in about half of human melanomas, and so I decided I had to then study melanoma. So I became very interested in the whole disease rather than this one tiny aspect of it. Melanoma, largely speaking, is a form of skin cancer that develops from overexposure of the skin to ultraviolet light, so this is sunlight. It's generally speaking a disease that can be cured, and in about 80% of cases it is. But if the disease spreads, becomes metastatic as we call it, so spreads throughout the body, then most people will be killed if they're not treated. We try and understand the really fundamental building blocks of human biology, and we try to understand how those building blocks are then put together to create the disease. And so although we haven't discovered drugs ourselves directly, the way we've contributed is in leading other people to understand the biology of melanoma and then to make new drugs that really are very effective in the disease. We do have our own drug discovery programs, but they're for later stages in the disease when they become resistant to the current therapies that are available. So the opportunities of using blood tests in melanoma are really extraordinary. One of the problems with melanoma patients, or one of the challenges, I should say, with melanoma patients is that, largely speaking, although the patients initially respond to the drugs we have, they eventually develop resistance and relapse. And the problem is we generally don't know about that relapse until it's too late.
Can we determine how quickly the patient is becoming resistant to one type of therapy and therefore the optimal time to switch that patient onto a different therapy? And all of that can be done, we believe, by monitoring the blood for this tumour DNA that the tumours are secreting into the bloodstream.
I'm optimistic, but I am cautious. I don't want to overpromise. But if the last 5 years are anything to go by, then I think we can look forward to a time when we might be able to cure this disease in, if not all, at least most of the patients.
Oh, well, I got an email from Richard the minute he found out saying, I've won this wonderful prize. So I was one of the first people, I think, that he told. So we were both hugely congratulatory, very, very happy.
I think it's a great honour, but I accept it not on behalf of myself, but on behalf of all the people I've worked with over the last 15 years to try and understand this disease. I think that it's a great honour, and I'm simply delighted. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use the money. We'll go from 1 person to 3 people, and that'll allow us to do more research in the area, and it'll allow us to understand this process by which melanoma spreads much more quickly. Hope is for dreamers, but we need some hope to get through the tough times.